Community, what is going on? Is your boy, the Bearded Wonder, coming to you live for my taking notes. But before I get into my intro song, as I usually do, I start off with Dead Wrong by the late, great, notorious B.i.G. featuring Eminem with Dead Wrong. I got to give a moment of silence. Lost someone either earlier today or last night. This guy was big in our community. He was known as HB, the artist, known for his oil paintings and tattoo work. And I was fortunate enough to have encountered this brother. And he actually did some work on me. I won't show it because I'm not in shape to show it, number one. Number two, it's not about me. It's about him. So before I actually get started with taking notes tonight, I want to go ahead and start out with a moment of silence for HB, the artist. May he continue to watch over us and rest in power, King. Rest in power, brother.
Relax and take notes while I take totes of the marijuana smoke. Throw you in a choke, gun smoke, gun smoke. Community. What is up? It is your boy, the Bearded Wonder, coming to you with Taking Notes. And that's brought to you by the Black in Business Podcast, which you can find us on Facebook at Black in Business Podcast, or on Instagram, Black_in Business. Or you can catch us on the web, www.blackinbusinesspodcast.com, or send us an email, and that's blackinbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. So I've been on hiatus. I took a 3-week sabbatical, if you will. The last taking notes I did was a very, very emotional one. It took a lot out of me, so that's why I took some time off. And of course, date of recording is October 15th, 2020, which is significant because my co-host will be getting married in 3 days. And I'm definitely looking forward to that event, and looking forward to him tying the knot and exchanging nuptials with his soon-to-be wife, with his fiance. So I'm looking forward to that. So that's pretty major. I got in touch with that guy a little earlier just to see how he was doing. I'm pretty sure he's going to jump in on the stream a little later on and just, kind of see what kind of shenanigans I'm into. So Dre from Brooklyn, salute, bro. Hats off to you. Can't wait to see you in a few days. And no, as you can see, I have not got myself ready for the wedding as of yet. That's because the glow up is real. But anyway, on a lighter note, so what's happened in my absence? Number one, I didn't have the J lit for the intro. So, but this was a little different. I was giving my respects first. HB didn't smoke, so I had to respect that. So yeah, that's part of the reason. But the other reason is simply I forgot. So the 3 weeks that I've been on hiatus, what has unraveled? I think I wrote in the description I was going to discuss the Breyonna Taylor verdict. And I think I'll start there before I dig any deeper into any more topics that I have. And with that being said, the Breyonna Taylor indictment, or the indictment of the officers in the Breyonna Taylor case, I sat on that and chewed on that and digested that for the last 2.5 to 3 weeks. And let's just say, like most of people of color or minorities feel, very angry by the outcome of said verdict in the Breyonna Taylor case. Wanton endangerment was the only charge that was brought against an officer who, based on ballistics, did not fire the fatal shots into Breyonna Taylor. which they had conflicting ballistic reports, which would lead to another investigation under normal pretenses or circumstances. But I guess I'm not that smart and I don't know the law or how this shit works. But nonetheless, a wall or two actually got justice before Breyonna Taylor did. So no pun and pun intended, the jury is still out on this case. And that has brought some concern from me within our community, for the simple fact that this is stuff like this. It's in plain sight. And you know, it's breeding anger and frustration, and for lack of better terms, we're tired. Like, we're just legit tired. Like, there's no sugarcoating this, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, the Black community and people of color are just fucking tired, dude. Like, enough is a fucking enough. And it's one of those things I think I may have said a little earlier in previous podcasts on the Black in Business podcast and on Taking Notes, that it's going to get worse before it gets better. And I'm not one that advocates for violence or anything of that nature. But I will say this, and you can take this with a grain of salt or a grain of sugar. But folks, protect yourselves, especially if you don't have a felony. Go out, get yourself a firearms license or a license to carry, or whatever it is they call it, and learn how to use one of those man-made gadgets known as a gun, and get proficient, because I have a feeling that not the end is not near, but an end is near, if you know what I mean. So with us being tired, Black people being tired, people of color being tired, there is going to be blood on the walls. Shit is going to literally hit the fan. Just be prepared, be ready. I'm not saying arm yourself to the nines, but make sure you know your family's protected in that way. And again, I don't advocate violence. I'm not a gun advocate at all, but I know it's something that needs to be done. It needs to be said, especially in the sense that, you know, walls are getting more justice than actual people. And that's the thing. Let me just throw this out there to the community as well. If Breyonna Taylor were another race or ethnicity, I think the outrage would still be there. I just think it would be processed a little differently. I think it would have evoked a change in gun laws and police reform, et cetera, had she been a person of another ethnicity. I'm not going to call any specific ethnicity. I'm just speaking in general. I think justice would have came a lot sooner, or would come a lot sooner. I really do hope that this goes forward into federal court, and you know, we actually get some justice. Even if it goes to the federal court and justice is quote unquote had, it's still not enough. It's not even the beginning. It's not even scratching the surface of what needs to be done to not necessarily right wrongs, but at least shed light and change the course of action within our judicial system and within the system that is the United States of America. And of course, I've said it before and I'll say it again, I'm not bashing, you know, America at all. I'm not. Our country is great, but it needs help. It needs some reform. It needs some revision. It needs a fucking factory reset is what it needs. And that's another thing too that I want the community to pay close attention to. If you haven't already, just look at how the media swings things. Like the Breyonna Taylor case was real huge up until when, which will lead into my next topic, presidential debates, right? And vice presidential debates. Find it to be interesting that at the height of the of social unrest in our country, politics seem to take a pun intended coming up, a precedence over actual issues. And I watched the vast majority of the presidential debate between former Vice President Joseph Biden and current President 45. Y'all already know I don't say that dude's name. I never have, and I never will. Fucking is how I feel. And I'll leave that at that. But I watched the debate, the presidential debates, and it was right in the middle of, you know, everything that was going on with the Breyonna Taylor case and the indictment, et cetera, the indictments, rather. Let me pluralize that. I found it to be, I guess, for me, watching the presidential debate, the only thing I could say was, if this is what we have to look forward to, we're up Shit's Creek, no canoe. We're in a lot of fucking trouble. I know it's going to take some new blood in politics, period. It's going to take people that are of like minds and don't have a secondary agenda. Politicians have a bad rap and stereotype for what? Taking money, bribes, being corrupt, looking out for their own pockets, agendas, constituents, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We just need new blood that doesn't have that or have those existential factors weighing in on them. That PAC money it's important. This is how a lot of politicians make money for their campaign trails and how they set up their town halls, et cetera, et cetera. They get money from different organizations and big name companies to fund their campaign. And you know, money talks and bullshit walks. That's it. I mean, that's one of the many things that is potentially the downfall of our people and of people in general. Money is the root of all evil, is what's said. My J keeps going out because I'm not smoking it, because I'm talking some real shit as usual. Or trying to anyway. In case you are just tuning in, I briefly went over, well, not briefly, but I went over the Breyonna Taylor indictments, and I'm kind of talking about the presidential debates and how that tied in to the Breyonna Taylor indictments, and how I felt about it. I'll reiterate and back that up and say that if you don't have a felony, go get you some arms, go get you a license, carry legally, be prepared. Protect yourself, protect your family and your loved ones. Have an escape plan, or a secondary spot that you can go to, hang out at, and a few people, small circle that you can hang with in the event of said emergency. And in case you don't know what you're doing or watching, this is Taking Notes with the Bearded Wonder, that's brought to you by Black in Business Podcast, which of course is brought to you by Designer Custom Glasses, The Next Page LLC, and One Empire Mobile Studios. You can find us on Facebook, Black in Business Podcast, Facebook, search bar, boom, good to go. Instagram, Black_in Business on Instagram. Of course, our webpage, www.blackinbusinesspodcast.com, or you can email us at blackinbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. So that's out the way. But yeah, I was just kind of tying those in and talking about the presidential debates and the vice presidential debates. Now, I haven't gotten to the vice presidential debates as of yet, because that for me further cemented my previous statement, which was, if this is what we have to look forward to, we're in deep shit. And in case you don't know how our presidential system works, legislative branch works, I need to get that shit straight before I try to say it on live. is that if something happens to the president, the vice president then becomes the acting president in certain instances. Of course, there's a vote. It's a little, they got formalities they have to go through before it's just done. Vice president doesn't get sworn in right away. There's actually some steps before he gets sworn in. Even in the event of an assassination, it's not just they jump right into office. It has to be votes and a levy and all kinds of little bullshit that goes on in our political system, which is not bullshit. It's supposed to be a safeguard, nonetheless. And needless to say, just think about this. Let me give you a little bit of perspective from the Bearded Wonder, how I'm thinking and what I think about this. Let's say 45 passes away, and Mike Pence is sworn in as the acting president. That dude is 12 times eviler than 45 is. He is a mastermind in terms of verbiage for certain laws and pacts and legislation. So you have to be careful with the vice presidential pick with the president. You got to understand that, like, it's you're not voting for, quote unquote, the lesser of two evils. You're voting for the two lesser of the two other evils, basically, in so many words. Because we don't, in the event that, something happens to the president and the vice president becomes acting president, you got to back those particular politics as well. And so that's going to lead me into talking about the vice presidential debates as well. I don't think I dropped that in the description, which is fine. This is taking notes. It's what I do. I watched that as well. I didn't get as far into the vice presidential debates as I probably should have. And the reason why I didn't is because, in case you cannot see what I look like, I am a black male. And there was a person of color, because she's not all 100% black, on camera making the various faces of, what the fuck are you talking about? Why are you trying to play me? You're dumb. Looks. She did a lot of nonverbal communication during the vice presidential debates. And I knew what each and every last one of those faces meant. As a matter of fact, there's a meme on Facebook or social media in general that's going around, and it's like 10 different faces of Kamala Harris and what they all mean. And I will say this, I've seen that meme circulated a gazillion times, and they've been changed up a few different ways, but all of them are fucking accurate. All of them are true. I know a lot of people have given Kamala backlash for her previous job when she was the DA in Los Angeles County in LA. And she incarcerated a lot of black men. Do I agree with it? Of course not. But here's the caveat to that, though. It being that she had, high incarceration rates in her previous job, that should let you know what? She was doing her job and doing her job well. We may not agree with the outcome. We may not like what the numbers say. We may not like the statistical backing of her job and her job description and title and everything that she had to do and everything she was doing while she was DA. She did her job well. Again, we may not like it. We may not appreciate it. We just know, based on those numbers and based on what she did her job well. So you can't be mad at that. So in the event that Joe Biden gets elected in, and Lord forbid something happens to him, she's sworn in as acting president, is a potential for her to do a very good job. There's also potential on the other end to fumble it. So I mean, there are a lot of different things. I think that I know why Joe Biden picked her. Definitely was a political power play for sure. I have a woman of color in my cabinet, and those are the votes that I need the most of. It's not rocket surgery. Yeah, I know I said rocket surgery. I did that on purpose. It's not rocket surgery. He knows what he's doing. So I mean, it's very poignant that you guys get out and vote too. Like, this is important. The vice president, your local officials. I mean, we got to start it. We got to start a change somewhere. There is that. There is that aspect of it. I'm kind of losing my thought a little bit because I am. It's still a very perplexing conundrum that we're in. I'm not 100% confident in any of the candidates, to be perfectly honest, and I can speak from a frank nature because my ballot has already been sent off. My vote has already been counted, so I can speak freely, a little more freely. I'm not confident in that shit at all. Like, I'm legitimately scared, frightened. I have a, I guess, what's the best way to say it? A citizen-based duty to make sure, I get some type of change to happen and to occur within my community and beyond, throughout the United States by sending my vote out. None of this shit makes sense, man. I mean, I would, I said if I was ever losing my mind, I would throw my hat in the political ring. I'm just too modest for that shit. I don't want that kind of spotlight. Like the podcasting and the lives and shit. This is entertainment spotlight, and it's on a very small scale currently. It's going to grow, and it is growing. So there are, I have different thoughts about these things. I don't have an agenda. I don't have a need for money. I'm a humble man, come from a humble place. So, it's not one of those things where, I would lean on that PAC money to run my campaign. It go, off the strength of me knowing people and having the same like-minded ideas as these people. I've been, in the dirt. I've been a grunt. I've been on the ground, so I know what this looks like. Yes, Essie, I agree. Politicians are also known for being called liars or manipulators. For the love of money is the root of evil. Just reiterating my thought that statement I had said a little earlier. Thank you, Essie. I appreciate that. But it's true. I mean, there so many different ways and angles. I mean, for us as regular citizens, we see it as such a simple, well, why don't they do this, or why don't they change this? I'm telling you, it's the underlying factor of payola, money, guap, green. You know what I'm saying? Dead presidents, whatever you want to call them. Like, that money shit is crazy. It's like a lot of these politicians a lot of these people get into politics and don't realize their power until the money is starting to roll around, or they're getting a lot of shit gratis. And that's what happens in politics and entertainment. Like, you get a lot of stuff for free. You get a lot of gratis stuff, and they get a lot of this gratis stuff for the rest of their days. Their family gets a lot of gratis stuff. I mean, I'm going to use, a local political figure right here in my hometown of Washington, D.C. Our former mayor, Adrian Fenty. He was a regular dude. He came out of nowhere. Like, he grew up in Southeast, which was at the time a pretty rough neighborhood and rough area. And he, propelled himself through, city council and started moving up and, end up campaigning to become mayor. He became mayor. He ran the city into the ground. The rest of the way, it's getting progressively worse, or has gotten progressively worse since he's gotten out of office. But I'm not taking the heat off of him at all. But he literally would take the taxpayers' money of the city, and he would hightail his ass with his mistress to New York on our dime. Mind you, this dude's married. is married, was married. I don't even know. But he'd take my, my piddly, $52 a week or every 2 weeks, whatever I was getting taken out for his state taxes. And, instead of it going into a road that's fucked up, there's plenty of them around here, or going into the school system, which is also fucked up, or, building an infrastructure within the city so that the city isn't sold to the highest bidder. But why do that when you can take trips to New York on my dime? Sure. Why the fuck not? So that money changed him. He turned into a completely different guy. And that's why he was a one-term and done mayor. Like, we got him in, got him out. Because we thought he was going to do well, and he was like, I'm for the people, and that was his platform. I started as a grunt. I was a regular citizen. I didn't do anything. I have this, and he had the backing. He had plenty of backing, but that money changed him. And that's another reason why. I don't think money would change me, but if I went into politics, I have so much opposition because I'm not taking this money, because I'm trying to be, pure and all of this. So don't get it twisted. The Bearded Wonder is not leaving you guys. I'm not going into politics at all. I don't have a desire to, but I can make it make sense, for the average person or the average lay person. I can make that shit make sense. So yeah, like, watching the debates within the last couple of weeks has been mildly and at best and quite frankly overtly disappointing. It's just a sad state that this country is in, and it's going down even faster. It's hell in a handbasket, as the old timers used to say. So yeah, shit. What are we supposed to do? We got to get out. We got to vote. We have to make sure that our voices are heard one way or another. And while we're talking politics, and I have this platform, also a day of recording on October 15th, Ice Cube. We know Cube. Everybody knows Cube, but Friday fame. Also, a kind of a activist in his own right. He is setting up a Black Trump campaign and caught shit. And I'm just going to say, quite frankly, shut the fuck up and mind your business. Because Cube's not going for the bullshit. And the reason why he's setting this up is the only way you're going to get change is there has to be an ear on each side. That's why we got two ears. And you hear stuff coming from both ends. There has to be an ear on each side. There has to be at least neutral enough parties for change to start. So I don't disagree with his move. And that's only because of what I know of him, as what I've seen his work in terms of philanthropy and being an activist in his own right, and being a trendsetter in his own right. We're talking about a member of NWA, hit song, fuck the police. Like, and I'm pretty sure he still feels that way. I can't speak for him. I don't know Cube. It's not my boy. He's not my phone. I can't hit him up and be like, hey, Cube, what you feel about this? I can't do it. I'm just speculating. I'm just being a regular spectator looking from the outside in. I don't think that Ice Cube would create something that wouldn't benefit on the bigger picture. Just look at his business ventures. He started the Big Three, which is a 3-on-3 basketball association. So a lot of ex-NBA players or D-League and G-League players that haven't gotten contracts, they get an opportunity to play and get signed or can start coaching, et cetera, et cetera. So there are he's created avenues, even just through athletics, to build a better brand and make him a much more well-rounded businessman. So I can't knock Cube's hustle at all. I won't knock Cube's hustle at all. So big up to Cube. I ain't mad at your move. Do what you do, bro. I ain't mad at it. If you need some help, shit, why not? Black in Business might jump out there. Sorry, Dre, don't beat me. Anyway, I'm gonna shift gears a little bit while we're taking notes. Of course, this is Taking Notes with the Bearded Wonder, brought to you by the Black in Business Podcast. So I brought up earlier that October 15th, day of this recording, is 3 days away from my co-host's wedding. But this is also the same week 1 year ago that the Black in Business Podcast started. So Dre, salute to you again, my brother. A year in podcasting. And I'm only going to give my perspective. And if you've been listening to podcasts that we've been putting out, one of the questions we got is, how'd you guys get started? What made you guys start a podcast? And I'm only going to give my perspective. I was approached a year ago with this idea to do a podcast, and it simply was me asking a few questions. And Dre was able to sit down with me and kind of construct a verbal picture of what he was trying to do and what he wanted, the Black in Business Podcast to be about and what the brand is supposed to be about. For me, first of all, as usual, I am humbled and honored to be on such a platform and to be a intricate part of said platform within our podcast. So I'm extremely humbled, extremely honored by it. So again, Dre, thank you. But for me, it's going back and listening and kind of watching some of the older videos and listening to some of the older podcasts and recordings. It has allowed me to grow as an entertainer. I used to do open mics, poetry. I did some stand-up for a little while. Poetry went a little better than the stand-up, to be perfectly honest. I'm really not that funny. Got a lot of dad jokes, but I do say some funny shit on occasion. So I thought I would try it in front of, in front of a mic, in front of a large crowd. So it was like a 50-50 kind of thing. I wouldn't mind jumping back on stage again, doing a little comedy. Sure, why the fuck not? I ain't got shit to lose, to be perfectly honest. But for me, it's sharpened my showmanship. It really has. I now listen a little differently. I also disseminate a little differently. And it's all growth. It's all a good thing. Not at all upset. It hasn't changed me as a person. So I'm still, off cuff. I do take a lot more notes now. I will say that I do take a lot more notes. And most importantly, I take a lot of good notes now. My notes before were decent. My 4 words or 5 words or whatever I needed to strike my recollection or to draw a question for interviews. I've now have gotten it down to, specific kind of format in my note taking. So I'm very proud of that. That's some personal growth as a person and also as an entertainer. If I had not been approached by Dre with the podcast, what would I be doing? Question that no one has ever asked me. So I will answer it here. I don't know. I may have eventually probably started my own podcast. It may not have been it being that I'm not a very structured being. I don't think my structure or format would have lasted very long. I probably would have went 10 or 11 episodes deep and been like, fuck it, I'm over it, I'm done. So I probably would not be podcasting. I probably would have tried, continue to be on stage. Of course, pre-pandemic, we didn't know this shit was gonna happen, but I probably would have been on stage a little bit more and honing my craft that way. And I don't think I would have experienced as much personal growth had I not been podcasting. So there was a reason that I was approached, with this idea of podcasting. So that makes me fucking happy because I get to grow some more. I get to learn more things. I get to learn new people. I get to hear different insights. I mean, we've had guests from around the world, and what you guys don't hear is in post production. It's, oh man, you guys are awesome. I want to come back on again. It was so much fun. You guys got a really good thing going. This platform you guys are on is powerful. You guys are moving the needle. A lot of encouragement. And there have been times where this has been a very, very tough journey, but anything worth having, it's worth fighting for. So for me, it's a challenge that I definitely accept. I love watching grow, mature, and I'm trying to nurture it the best I can. Of course, with the guidance and tutelage of Dre from Brooklyn. I can't give that brother too much praise or not enough praise. I don't even know which way to say it, because I mean, this dude is always coming at me with something. Hey man, I was thinking about doing so and so and so and so. Or how about this? Like, he's starting to sound like me. I think I rubbed off on him a little bit. He actually cussed me out one time, so I might be rubbing off on him. It happens, and I'm getting more organized, so he's rubbing off on me. So there's that. One thing I will say, and we'll put out, to the community and out here in cyberspace, is that I don't know if you guys have been listening, been following, been watching, but one of the things that remained the same, and it actually has gotten a lot stronger for Dre and I, is our synergy. Is that connection and chemistry that he and I have, that ironically, I mean, 5 years ago, I don't think would happen the same way. But I mean, of course, I'm very open-minded, and so is Dre, and that works. So our synergy and our energy is really good. It's on a high. It's going to continue to grow. It's going to continue to blossom. Dre hasn't, texted me or called me, say, hey man, look, I want you off the podcast, dude. Like, this shit ain't working. So I mean, I'm humbled again, of course, and honored by that. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those things I am very, very proud of, and proud to be attached to and a part of. So yeah, thanks. It's been 1 year. Black in Business Podcast has been going strong for a year. We got many more years to go. Dre and I have started constructing a 6 month to 1 year goal, like, agenda. And some of those boxes have already been checked off. So it just goes to show you, we're growing. We're headed in the right direction. We're going to be visible, and even more visible than we have been in the past. Especially with the amount of feedback and energy we've been getting from our guests and future guests alike. So yeah, I mean, that's cool. I mean, I didn't have to have, this opportunity to do my own one-off or speak my piece outside of the podcast had it not been for Dre. I'm gonna keep praising that brother. So again, Dre, appreciate you. Salute. Let me see, what else did I have for you guys? I think that was it. I said I was going to do a surprise, but I couldn't quite do it. So I might try it again on another taking notes, and it'll just, pop up. It'll be something that'll be, kind of live. So it might be YouTube, might be IG, might be Facebook, might be a combination. Who the fuck knows? It's the bearded wonder you're talking to and looking at. But anyway, guys, of course, this has been Taking Notes, or this is Taking Notes with the Bearded Wonder, brought to you by the Black in Business Podcast. You can find us on Facebook at Black in Business Podcast. Find us on IG, Black_in Business, on Instagram, or of course, you can hit us on the webpage, www.blackinbusinesspodcast.com. And of course, lastly but not leastly, email blackandbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. And it's your boy. It has been your boy. It's been real. It's been trill. Like my man says, Joel Santana. Don't watch me. Watch TV. I'll let you guys really soon. Peace. Once I get the music up, we might can get this done right.
Relax and take notes while I take totes of the marijuana smoke. Throw you in a choke, gun smoke, gun smoke. Biggie smokes for mayor, the rap slayer, the hooker layer. Motherfucker, say your prayers. Hail Mary, full of grace. Smack the bitch in the face, take her Gucci.